following video is made with the intentions for a presentation for a class at EKU, CTE 368. Those intentions are solely for the purpose of fulfilling an assignment and not for the intents and purposes of using as a home improvement video. Hello, my name is Toeupu Liu, and I'm a heavy equipment science teacher at Fairdale High School. I'm also certified to teach electricity through the NCCER. Our presentation is going to be on three-way switches. We're going to show the route of the electricity through two three-way switches from a feeder and how to control a light with those three-way switches as well. During the presentation there's going to be some basic terminology and vocabulary, and about halfway through we're going to start the lab process, and there's going to be a diagram and a cutout box off to the side of it. I hope it's something that you find useful and enjoy. We're going to just describe what PPE we would use, and in this case for the lab we're just going to use safety glasses and our hand tools. Gloves are going to be optional also, as well as part of their PPE. We're going to describe the pathway of electricity. We're going to draw out first and show how the electricity flows through a set of three-way switches and through a light. And we're going to do that by a diagram as well. And then lastly, on the lab, we're going to terminate three-way switches. There's going to be a source voltage electricity, and it's going to feed to a three-way switch, through another three-way switch to a light, and then we're going to follow the path all the way back to the panel also as well. Okay? So first off, just want to make sure that we're using the same vocabulary. There's basically three types of conductors that we're going to be talking about. One is the ungrounded conductor. It's commonly known as is normally characterized in a 120 240 volt system as either black, red, and rarely blue. The second conductor we're going to be talking about and using as part of our vocabulary is going to be the ground-dead conductor. Okay? This is not to be confused with the grounding conductor, is the ground-dead conductor. And we're going to talk about that here momentarily. And per NEC, per the National Electric Code, the grounded conductor is going to be identified as either white or natural gray, with no exception. Those are the only two colors that are recognized by the National Electric Code as being the grounded conductor. And then thirdly, we're also going to be talking about the grounding conductor. And this also, per National Electric Code, is identified by only two colors. One is green, and the second is bare, which means there won't be any insulation on the conductor itself. Another term that we're going to be discussing is the common terminal, and this refers to the terminal on a three-way switch that is very specific. It's the only one that is of its own color, other than the grounding sphere, which is going to be green or bare. But this is the only one on the terminal screws on a three-way switch that will have its own color. And it will be connected in one of two ways. It'll be connected to the feed, or the source voltage, or it will be connected to the supply side of the outlet. As well. And then lastly, two conductors that we're going to be talking about are the travelers. And they're usually referred to as a pair, and these two conductors are the pathway that connects three-way and four-way switches. Now, at any time, one but never both of the travelers is an ungrounded conductor. Okay, so one of them will be a hot, if you will, or an ungrounded conductor, but never both at the same time. Okay. Now, in between these three, the two three-way switches, there should always be a three-wire cable. So since our source voltage comes up through here, we're just going to take this constant hot and we're going to hook it right onto our common. So, other than the ground, the other two wires that we have left to connect are the travelers. And I've already pre-colored the white conductor blue. It's blue all the way to the back where it comes to where it originates from. I'm just going to put a couple hooks on that. And I always like to hook around the terminal. I never use the stab locks on a device because it always seems like they'll wiggle out. And usually if there's some type of troubleshooting that has to be done, it's usually as a result of, it seems like it's commonly a result of stab locks that have just kind of popped out of there. As those wires expand and contract, a lot of times they end up making enough space for them to come out. So there's my first traveler, and then I'm going to use the red as my second traveler. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what order you hook these up or whichever one you decide to hook up to. As long as you have two travelers where the travelers are supposed to go, as long as they're not hooked in to the common, then we're good. Okay? So that 3-wire switch, with the exception of the grounding, is complete. Okay, so we're just going to kind of move him out of the way. Now, so our voltage goes to this box via our travelers, and then that's where we're going to put our second 3-way switch. Okay? Remember what I said, that the common is usually dictated by the different color screw. On this, the common is going to be black, and then you have 2 gold screws for your travelers. So I'm going to wire that accordingly. My 2 travelers are my red and white, so we're going to put those dudes on there. Now I've colored this